Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another video with Yas Muff. Today, I'm gonna have to talk about this again. Um, but I'm gonna talk differently about it. Because I think that the real problem here, is that normal people, people who are against furries or have never heard of furries, normally see the bad things, really. And I think that people really need to dig deep before they conclude things. Really, they really need to look into what they're looking at, and not just assume stuff. Um, and I can understand why why the furry community is so upset about this, because when somebody opens up about something that they like, maybe it's a suphile, whatever, um, they get really upset. They get horrendously upset, which is understandable because they just want to be accepted in the world. Which, again, I understand. Furries should be accepted in the world. They should be. They shouldn't be treated like they're an enemy, really. I know that the last video, I sounded quite negative towards furries, but I really aren't. I'm not. I'm not really negative towards them. It's just that it hurt me that I got quite, nasty messages and whatnot, which were not very nice. But I can understand why those people sent those messages. And I won't name them because I don't name and shame. I don't do that. Uh, but I think that the people who find out about furries and actually look at it, they don't look deep enough. And that is what causes this war. And this war has been going on for for a long time. For a long time. Um, but I think that people outside the furry community really need to stop acting dumb. They need to stop acting like idiots, really. They need to start to use those cogs in their heads to actually, figure out what the furry community really is, and not just assume of its skin. It's like a book. Don't assume a book for its cover. You need to open up that book and read the insides of the book. Same thing with communities. Don't assume a community just because of things that you see. You need to actually, dig deep and look at the things which are inside, not just assume. And I think that's what the problem is. Um, I think that people need to really think about, when they look at a furry community or the furry community, they really need to think about what they say, what they do, how they act, because furries have every right in the world to speak out the things that they like, and whatnot. But what I do not like is when you have, the furry community where somebody, comes out about something that they like, and the furry community turns extremely sour. I don't like that. I honestly do not like that. I'm not that sort of person. I really am not that sort of person. I won't go out my way to, you know, verbally attack people. Well, I won't do that. That's um, no. It's better to have a constructive talk with someone. If you don't agree with their view, have a constructive talk with them. Don't have a destructive talk with them, because a destructive talk will just make it worse. If you have a constructive talk, you can talk to them about it. You can, have a discussion about it. You can show your views without being a total dickbag. Because if you're going to be a total prick, then of course people are going to, that person's going to turn around and they have every right in the world to bite back. Um, I'm not saying that, retaliation is good. I'm not saying that at all. Retaliation is not that good. It's not good at all. You should never retaliate, because that just makes the situation worse. But when people go out the way to verbally attack people just because they don't like their views, that is inhumane. That's not human. You should have a constructive talk with them. Have a proper conversation with them. Explain your views. Listen to their views, and try and discuss of how you both can work together. Don't force them to change, because that's not right. That's not right. That's something that Stalin and Hitler used to do. You know, they you know, if somebody didn't agree with something, then they would do some very nasty things that I won't go into detail with, because otherwise this video will be completely removed instantly. Um, but honestly, I think that the world needs to wake up, take a step back, look at the damage they've done, because I think that everyone's guilty here. Everyone is guilty. Because right now, no one is having a constructive talk. There are no constructive talks going on. Um, and I think that sooner or later, there's going to become a point where the friction should become so high that something really, really bad is going to happen. Something really, really bad is going to happen. Um, and then everyone's being shocked because of it. And then people who have been telling them years to just have a bloody talk are gonna say, "Well, I told you so." You know, I think that you know people outside the furry community who look at the furry community and think, "Oh, they all want to have intercourse with animals." That's not true. That's not true. That's it's such a small percentage of people in the folk community, which like to do that sort of thing. I'm not part of that percentage. I'm not. I will never, ever, ever do that. I don't agree with it. But if somebody is willing to express themselves, they have every right to express themselves, as long as they are not hurting an animal, as long as they are not forcing it, as long as they are not doing anything which is wrong, then I respect their decision. But as soon as, they do something wrong, or they do something which is dodgy or whatnot, then I will definitely say, hang on a minute, you can't do this. I'm not supporting you anymore. That's clear. Um, but you shouldn't just immediately say, "Oh, I don't respect your decision." Your disgrace, your disappointment. Your blah blah blah. You should do that. You should do that. You should listen to their views. You should listen to how they express themselves before you comment. If you feel disgusted, don't attack them. If you feel disgusted about it, say it in a constructive manner. Don't say it in a destructive manner, because saying it in a destructive manner just makes the situation 100 times worse. If you say it in a constructive manner, you can have a constructive conversation. Um, so yeah, and that's gonna be the video. Basically, I just wanted to talk about that because it's a stupid situation. The situation should have never happened. Um, I think everybody who have not done anything bad. Anybody who who do not harm animals, who do not force themselves onto animals or whatnot. I think animals should be loved. Animals should be respected. Animals should be treated fairly. Um, you know, it's wrong with these people, in the world which do some horrific things to animals. That is wrong. That is really wrong, and those people should be locked up for life. But when you attack somebody where they have clearly said in a video and in the comment section and in the description, they've clearly stated they don't own any animals, um, and they won't harm animals or whatnot, and you still go out your way to make them feel extremely hurt and uncomfortable. They're not at fault, you're at fault. You should not attack them. You should have a constructive manner towards them. But right now, this person is suffering. Suffering. They're suffering. Um, and it shouldn't be happening. Shouldn't be happening. It's wrong, really. Uh, it's wrong. Again, I'm going to state, I know that no one's going to get this far into the video because, people in this world are complete dickwits, really. They really are. Um, but if anybody's come to the end of this, to this part of the video, I'm going to state again, I'm not a zoophile. Um, I don't do that sort of thing. I find it weird, but I am willing to support people who open up about it. Um, that doesn't make me a zoophile. It doesn't make me a zoophile just because I'm supporting somebody. I won't do any of that, but I will support that person. I will definitely, your question, or have you done any dodgy things, in the past or whatnot? And if they haven't, then I'll support them. But if they have, then you know I'll tell them to get help or whatnot. I won't tell them to, do some ridiculous things. I won't do that. I'll just say to them, maybe you should probably get help, probably not have any animals for a while. Just let yourself calm down and whatnot, and just find a proper help. But obviously, most people on this planet are not exactly bright. They would rather attack people than have a constructive conversation with them. That kind of shows the level of humanity on this planet these days. Yeah, it's definitely dropped. um, I do respect the furry community. I do. Um, I was very into it. Um, couple months to a year ago, but now I feel pushed away. I really do feel pushed away. I feel betrayed and everything. Um, I feel hurt. I honestly feel hurt. Um, I I'm gonna say it again in this video, like I did the last video. I'm autistic. I got epilepsy. I got asthma. I suffer from dyslexia. Um, so at times I will struggle to spell some words, or I'll struggle to understand some things or whatnot. So please don't attack me about that. I really don't, because then otherwise, I'm gonna report your ass. Yeah. So it's difficult. It's difficult these days. You express yourself and you get absolutely hounded. even though you've done nothing wrong, you get absolutely handled, you get shut down. Honestly, I think it's probably about time that I probably take some time away from the furry community. Just stay away from it for a while, because obviously it's a toxic place. It's obviously a toxic place. Um, I don't feel I don't feel right being there. I feel uncomfortable. Um, it's not right that people outside the furry community judge the furry community off of, just its cover. They shouldn't. They should really, dig deep and look at the different types of, the furry community, different types. They shouldn't just, assume it for one part. But at the same time, furries shouldn't just completely batter down someone just because they're expressing themselves. It's not right. It's not right. I mean, it just shows of how detached we've become. It shows of that we basically have no humanity left in us. That we are against each other. Um, that we don't care about each other's feelings. That we only care about ourselves. Um, and that's, honestly, that's really sad. So I want to keep away from the community. I don't want to know anything about it anymore for a while. Um, I never really interacted with furries really. Um, I never really did. Yeah, even though the furries that I met in VR chat, all the furries I met, they were really cool. They were really lovely to talk to. But right now, I just feel uncomfortable. Really, I feel really uncomfortable. I feel hurt, betrayed, and honestly, once this blows over, which most likely it won't, it will go on for the next 2,000 fucking years. Um, but hopefully, if it blows over, then I'll probably come back to VR chat. But for now, no. I'm sorry, but no, no, because I know if I go into VR chat, very VR chat, I'll just get hounded, really. Which kind of shows of how disrespectful human can be. Um, and it shows how childish they can be. People are not prepared to listen to other people's views just because they don't agree with them, and so they shut them down. That shows how childish some people are. I think that people outside the furry community and the furry community itself, they are both at fault here. They are both at fault. Yes, people outside the furry community who are not furries themselves, but are curious, they should not, um, they shouldn't, um, what's the word? They shouldn't, um, accuse the furry community of being like, say, um, example one, when really the furry community is an example of 10. You know, they shouldn't, um, just say, oh, the furry community is disgusting and whatnot, because you do have a very, very small percentage of people on VR chat, very VR chat, which, yeah, they are not very nice to talk to. The things they do is it's just not nice. But then you have a slightly bigger percentage of people where yes, they may be zoophiles or they may be this or that or whatnot, but they don't hurt the animals. They don't do anything like that. They really don't. And you should respect those people's decisions. You know, you should never, ever, ever try and do a council culture and try and shut them down because that's inhuman. That's not right. You should just listen to them explain it. You should have a constructive conversation with them. Express your views of how you disagree with it. Um, Try not to be aggressive towards them. Just have a conversation with them. End of. Really. So yeah, that's the video. Hung up this video and then I'll probably do a sleep. I'm tired. I'll probably gonna play some webcams or whatnot. Probably write a story or whatnot. So yeah, my disappointment is immeasurable. It really is.